Howdy y'all, favorite trainer with a belt buckle, taking you through the ACE CPT 2024. This is the podcast. If you're not familiar with Show Up Fitness, I wrote the book, How to Become a Successful Personal Trainer. We've helped over 5,000 people pass these level 0 textbook certifications. What is a level 0? A level 0 is taking a textbook exam, multiple choice. You don't have hands-on experience. You're not learning from a professional. You're not in an environment. The likelihood for your success, as I talk about in my book, less than 10% of trainers make it past 1 year. We've partnered with Lifetime Fitness, all 170 of their gyms, except the Show Up Fitness CPT, a level 1 certification, has some type of internship, you have a college degree, you are learning in an environment with critical feedback, helping you program, build up your confidence, be confident and competent in the assessment. Textbook certifications don't do that. It's a huge market, tons of money to be made. If you want to get our ACE cheat sheet, leave a 5-star review and we will send it to you. We highlight the main topics that you can review. Focus on the guide, the cheat sheet, these podcasts. You will get through it. Worst case, you fail. Who gives a rat's ass? Maybe your common sense will kick in and you go, actually, this isn't going to do jack shit for me. I'm going to get the Show Up Fitness CPT and level my game up because I want to become a qualified personal trainer. Check out the book, How to Become a Successful Personal Trainer. The line in the sand. To become a successful personal trainer, you need to learn hands-on, get into an environment with physical therapists, people who are doing what you want to do. You came across Show Up Fitness because you're trying to pass this test. Numerous people came across this too late and cannot get a refund. That is why I'm helping you pass this. I've taught personal trainers for over 10 years. I worked at a school, taught ACE, ISSA, NSCA, ACSM, NASM, level 0 certifications, super easy to pass if you focus on what you're going to be tested on. I don't want you to memorize this textbook. No, you don't even need it. But like I said, a lot of people can't get a refund. You wasted a lot of money and now you're frustrated because you want to turn your passion for fitness into a career. This isn't going to do it. How to become a personal trainer. You clicked on one of the ads, or a trainer at a gym who's frustrated with their life told you should go get NASM, ACE, ISSA. Why do they make these recommendations? It's accredited. Do you even know what accredited means? Show Up Fitness is going through the accreditation process. It takes numerous years, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have to have a team, go through, cross all the T's and I's and all that malarkey. We are building the most successful certification and we don't want to be associated with the textbooks. That's why respected gyms want to work with Show Up Fitness. Equinox and Lifetime, we can get trainers hired there where normally you'd have to go work at an LA Fitness and Orange Theory for a couple of years to build the confidence and the resume to go apply to these gyms. But we're getting people hired on the spot. You focus on the skills that are required to be successful. People skills, the trade skills, business skills. And that's what we teach you at Show Up Fitness. You don't want to hear that though. You want to pass ACE. I got you covered. I'm going to fly through this fucker. Quick, I'm going to flex a few times, talk about my big calves, and I'm going to annoy the hell out of you, and that's okay. I don't give a rat's ass. One goal only, pass this, so then you can move into becoming a qualified trainer. Chapter 1, don't worry about it, skip it. A couple things you may be tested on, such as what is BMI, what is obesity. Nothing in here is going to be significant. On page 12, if you don't have the book, it's okay. If you're listening to this, just timestamp it, write it down later on. You'll be asked a question on the general scope of practice for personal trainers. You would think it's common sense, but remember, common sense is not common action. So make sure to go over that table. You're going to hear a lot about the IFT model. That's the integrated fitness training module that ACE is all about. NASM's all about their OPT model. You have to put on that hat to pass their exam. Excuse me. You need to know that 2 CECs are required to keep your certification. You don't need it after you get it once, But I know there's a stigma. You want to run to grandma and tell, I got my American Council of ACE certification, grandma. I'm respected. And she pats you on the butt and says, I knew you were going to make it, little Johnny. 12 months from now, if you still keep that level 0, you're probably not going to be training. You got to level up. You want those things to put into your social media account. I got my ACE, my ISSA, I got my NASM and all this other bullshit. You want to be a qualified trainer. So focus on the things that are going to improve you later on in the game. Getting more textbooks aren't going to do that. So the only thing you need to know from chapter 1, that right there, the 2 CEUs, and then otherwise get into chapter 2. You're going to get introduced to the cardiorespiratory integrated fitness training, in which you have the base, fitness, and performance. On the muscular training side, you have functional, movement, load, and speed. They run hand in hand, and they really hit that in a lot within this textbook. You need to know the ABCs, ask open-ended questions, break down barriers, and collaborate. You're going to see a lot and associate the IFT model with rapport, trust, and empathy. You will see all of that consistently within that exam. SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Any client who is not consistently performing moderate intensity cardiorespiratory exercise for bouts of at least 20 minutes on at least 3 days per week should begin with base training. Think of it as just beginner, intermediate, advanced. Athletes are going to be doing sprints, Tabatas, HIIT training. That's 3, or VT2, which you'll learn about here shortly. VT, which stands for ventilatory threshold. You have 1, which has an RPE of 3 to 4, which means it's pretty low intense. Moderate intensity would be a RPE of 5 to 7 or so, and then high intense would be an RPE 7 to 10. So you need to know base training, 3 to 4 RPE, fitness training, 5 to 6, performance training, 7 to 10. And that is going to be the fine line between VT1, which will be base training, and then VT2, which will be performance training. The movement patterns you need to be familiar with, according to ACE, are going to be the bend and lift, single leg movement, pushing movement, pulling movement, rotational movement. Off chapter 2, just know that blood pressure, the top number, systolic, bottom one, diastolic. Hypertension would be having a blood pressure greater than 140 and or 90 diastolic. You should know the HDL markers, which mean healthy. Those are the good blood cholesterol markers. LDL, think of lousy. Show Up Fitness has a level 0 course, of which we have weekly live calls. You get to interact with instructors to focus on what you're going to need for your ACE, your NASM, ISSA, NSCA, whatever level 0 certification you have, so you can focus on what the test will look like, so then you can pass it. Chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6, which will be section 2, getting into the behavior change. They may ask you a few questions on the difference between like type 1 and type 2 diabetes. One is genetic onset, usually with under the age of 10, and that's going to be insulin dependent. You got to take a shot. Type 2, you did it yourself. You ate too much, you don't move enough, you don't sleep well, you're stressed out. All of these factors make your cells resistant to insulin. That's why it gets a bad rep. Insulin is not a bad hormone, nor is cortisol. They just do their job. And if your body doesn't recognize insulin, it's referred to as insulin resistance. That is type 2. It is reversible. 90% of diabetics are type 2. Metabolic syndrome is going to be having cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, usually being obese, which is a BMI greater than 30. Hypertension, as I said earlier, 140 over 90. They will ask you questions about motivation. You will be asked about the self-determination theory, which is autonomy, competence, and relatedness. They like asking about motivational interviewing and knowing the difference between outcome goals, process goals. Stages of change is the big thing that you need to know in chapter 3. You have pre-contemplation, which is you're inactive, you're not thinking about any type of movement. Contemplation, you are thinking about it within the next 6 months. Preparation, you are exercising, you're just inconsistent. Action, you're doing it regularly, but you haven't been doing it for longer than 6 months. And then you have maintenance, which is you've been doing it for longer than 6 months. So those are the 5 phases. This is going to be on table 3.1 on 71. If you're listening to this or if you're watching, again, you don't need the textbook. I'm just going to be referencing it for people who have it. You need to know the ABC approach. As I said earlier, ask, break down barriers, collaborate. You're going to have different theories when it comes to behavioral change. You may get a couple questions overall. Don't freak out on chapter 3. You will have maybe so far 3 to 4 questions. Focus on the big stuff that you're going to get later on. And if my voice is annoying you, just put this fucker on 1.5 or 2 and just take those gold nuggets. You will pass this, I guarantee, because we've helped over 5,000 people do it. We know what we're doing because we make the best trainers in the world. Go to high-end gyms and guess what? They're going to have their SUF-CPT. They're not putting ACE in their bio or NASM. That's the easiest way to tell someone is a fucking idiot. They don't know what they're doing. I'm joking. People get so offended today. They're going to send some comments on there. You're so mean. What did your parents do to you when you were younger? It's fun. Social media, YouTube. It's a personality. It's like a game show. Don't get so damn emotional today. Grow some thick skin. Jeepers creepers. This book is full of horse shit. Keep moving. Or as you will see, OARS, affirmations, reflective listening, summarizing, SMART goals, as I said earlier, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. You would save a lot of time if you just skipped 1 through 4 and you start getting into a little bit within the ACSM stuff. You may see questions about the American College of Sports Medicine, a respected certification because they work with the medical environment. If you want to work with heart disease as an exercise physiologist, you would need to go the ACSM route. Things that they teach you when you get a degree in kinesiology, NFCA, ACSM, respected level 0 certifications. Level 1, you get the internship, which is really, really important, or you take your test verbally. That's what we do at Show Up Fitness. You have to have someone ask you questions about the 17 muscles of the shoulder, 20 of the lower body, the 8 core movement patterns, the agonist and synergist of each, and then design a program on the spot. Listen to the podcast. We have a few back with trainers who've gone through the interview process with managers at Lifetime. They stop them halfway and say, who the hell are you? You are this hybrid trainer that's amazing. We want you immediately. Where did you learn? That's how we moved up to the top. More people are getting hired. They're recognizing Show Up. We haven't been around since 1990 like all these textbook certifications. That's why everyone's yapping about them. If you ask 100 trainers, what's the best certification to get? They're going to say old school methodologies. Just like if you ask someone 50 years ago, what's the best car? They're not talking about Teslas. It hasn't been invented yet. We are a new company, and the training industry needs new qualified. When I talk to executives, I'm not talking about a manager at a gym. I'm talking about high up folk right next to the CEO at the big 4 gyms. They are telling me what they need. And what they need, qualified trainers who are confident, who look the part, who talk the part, that can sell. You need to sell. Sales is fun. Don't freak out over it. Don't shit your pants. I got to sell training. I charge a lot more than you. I charge a lot more than the top trainer you probably know. $250 to $350 an hour. I don't blink. This is how much I cost. You want to work with me or not? No, go work with someone else. I don't say it like that. I smile. The people skills is so important. Your network is so important. You need to have confidence, and that's what these gyms want, and that's what we deliver. You see, I get fired up about this shit because people take this test and they fail, or they keep on wasting so much time not knowing what the hell they're doing. When they do pass, they go out there and they don't know how to fucking train. You have a client who has a jacked up shoulder and either, oh, let's foam roll your adductors. That's going to fucking help you. They scare them about movement. This is overactive. We got to fix you. Person doesn't get results. They don't sign back up. And guess what? You start thinking, I'm a bad trainer. No, you just weren't taught how to train properly. You read a fucking textbook. It blows my mind that we accept this. Any other career out there, find a career where you work with your hands. Hairstylists, doctors, therapists. Imagine if they only read a textbook. I'm a heart surgeon. I got my piece of paper. Who wants to let me do heart surgery on you? Fuck off, doc. No way. We want to be respected. You need to be a medical professional. If you're an influencer, that's level 0. Certified personal trainer, level 0. Level yourself up into the medical field. That's what we are at Show Up Fitness. We are medical professionals because we can have conversations with doctors, physical therapists, registered dietitians. They are all on our team. We help you build your team. Enough of that frickin' tangent, Chris. Shut up and get into this. You need to know if you can train that individual via the PAR-Q, Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire. So what that means, someone comes in, if they have a risk factor, 1, you can train them. If they have more than 1, they're gonna be a moderate risk stratification. If they have a sign or symptom, which will be ankylodemia, tachycardia, which is a fast resting heart rate greater than 100, dizziness, you have trouble sleeping at night, waking up, which is referred to as orthopnea, dyspnea, myocardial ischemia, or also referred to as angina, which is chest pain. If you have any of that stuff, you automatically are high risk. You need to refer out because you cannot train them. That is a high risk stratification, and you need to link up with that medical professional and get a medical clearance that has any type of contraindications, which means that you cannot do this. So if your client has some type of resting heart rate issue and it's 130 and the doc says, don't do high intense cardio. Well, don't do a frickin' Tabata. Don't do some crazy 4x4 Norwegian cardio protocol because the doc said you can't do that. Do not overstep your boundaries as a trainer. Don't practice as a dietitian. You can't practice as a therapist. You need to know your lane. Nutrition, you can skip most of this. Again, not that great of information. Just know protein, 10 to 35% of your daily intake, 20 to 35 for fat, 45 to 65 for carbs. Other things you need to know, A, D, E, and K. Very, very smart with these marketing companies. They don't challenge you a lot with nutrition or sports performance. Why? Think about it. You leave the test, you take your photo, and you go, yeah, I'm a qualified trainer. And then you go, holy moly, I didn't learn much about nutrition. I'm gonna go get another fucking cert. And you go waste another $1,000 to read another textbook. Yippee, you have all these credentials, acronyms in your bio, which mean absolutely horseshit. I teach trainers that you can always tell a new coach and trainer because they have all these stupid acronyms. They're fighting in the world of the toxic level 0 trainers, it's a pissing war. I'm the best, look at my 13 certifications. Great trainers, great coaches, they just put trainer. They just put coach because that's what you are, that's what we are. You'll hear about DRI, which is daily reference intakes. You don't need to know much about the macros, which are carbs, fats, protein, and alcohol. They just have a calorie associated with the grams. So 1 gram of protein and carbs, 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, 9 calories. 1 gram of alcohol, 7 calories. You'll be tested on that. The micros, which are vitamins and minerals, they can't test you on. You can see something on the DASH diet, which is the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. That's what they're really big on in the ACE approach. Really focusing on that ABC approach. Ask, break down barriers, and then collaborate. As I said numerous times, don't worry much about nutrition. You will get a few questions about calories per gram. If you needed to do some simple calculations, 10 grams of carbs, 40 calories, 10 grams of fat, 90 calories, 10 grams of protein, 40 calories. 40 plus 40 is 80, 80 plus 90, 170. How good are we at math? I just impressed you, I hope, because that is some hard shit. We can't do that without our phones today. We live on our phones. Know the simple math, and then you would take the small divided by the large. So if you had 10 grams of protein, 40 calories divided by 170. 40 by 160 would be 25%, so it'd be like 28, 30%. Woo! I am good at math. I'm actually fucking terrible. I can just do basic math right there. You should know most credible sources recommend 1 to 4.5 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight, depending on the type of food, when it comes to individuals and loading carbs for exercise. Some research has also suggested that eating a relatively small carbs and protein, such as 50 grams of carbs and 5 to 10 grams of protein, 30 to 60 minutes before exercise, helps increase glucose availability. VO2 max is testing how efficient your lungs and pulmonary cardio system are at circulating oxygen. If you were to see a question on what VO2 is, that's what it's referencing. On creatine, which would be suggested to take around 3 to 5 grams per day. Creatine is a cool supplement that we should probably all be taking. When I say all, literally all. What happens when we break down ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, we have ADP, adenosine diphosphate. So you have adenosine diphosphate floating around, and then you have creatine phosphate floating around. They have a high affinity towards one another. So they bond, basically they do the horizontal polka, bonka, wonka, 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 and they create more ATP. So by taking creatine, it's allowing for the regeneration of more ATP. Think of it as you and I are walking to the wall. I am not taking creatine, you are. You're gonna get there faster. I'm still gonna get there, but you just have a little turbo boost. So why wouldn't you want that? Not only does it help with exercise, it helps with cognition, it helps with a lot of great things. So we are not doctors. Everyone needs to go on creatine. You could suggest for your client to look into meta-analyses. You can go to examine.com. That's a great site filled with doctors and dietitians. Remember the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. All dietitians are nutritionists, but all nutritionists are not dietitians. Get one on your team with a sports background. That's usually what I suggest, and you are going to be better off. Because when that person comes in for the assessment and you ask, how did you hear about us? You let them talk a little bit, and you say, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through this assessment. I work with a team. I have a physical therapist, a registered dietitian. Whatever your concerns or goals are, we will help you get there 100%. That confidence, they go, wow. The last trainer I went to did this overhead squat assessment, scared the shit out of me, put me on a Boski ball, did some battle ropes and some ladder drills, and tried to sell me on this crazy package. They were a salesman with all these supplements. You really seem professional. And you go, that's why I'm a level 1 certified personal trainer. I've gone through the best program in the world, show up in a CPT, where they help us build a network. That's why I know you're safe. And they go, wow, that makes perfect sense. Here's my credit card because you are the best. That's what happens. But you got to get through this ACE stuff. And just remember, when it comes to caffeine, 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. You could see a question on that. That's all when it comes to supplements. 1.2 grams per kilogram of hour of carbohydrate increase muscle glycogen of 150% or more. So basically you can supersaturate your cells by getting more carbs for the athletes. They may ask a question about protein concerns. 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram according to the ACSM when it comes to protein supplementation. BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. You have leucine, isoleucine, valine. They're not going to ask you specifics on any of the aminos. I wanted to cover just sections 1 and 2 today. I will have other ones because if you give someone an hour-long podcast or an hour-long video, you start losing your shit. We're going to make it more digestible. Little 20, 30-minute clips that will go through this entire textbook. I just covered chapters 1 through 6. You would be perfectly fine skipping all of those and getting our study guide, getting into the level 0 calls where you can ask questions to the instructors. I'm having a hard time with this. Is this how you say it? We're going to give you the confidence to get through this test, because the ironic thing is when you start training clients, you're not going to be like, oh, Chris, is my supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres major, or teres minor what's hurting right now? No, you got to know that off the top of your head. When your client says they got a rotator cuff issue, you go, talk to me about it. Which rotator cuff muscle was it? And they go, I don't know. And you say, well, send me the MRI. Send me what the doc said. I can help you better understand this. You have the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, subscapularis. Those are your 4 rotator cuff muscles. They stabilize the glenohumeral joint. Some of them do this, some of them do that. Internally rotate, externally rotate. You are going to get the respect that we want as medical professionals. The new version is out, and this is the version we use during our seminar tour. Show Up Fitness is going to Lifetime gyms on our seminar tour. We've already been to Sacramento, Roseville. We're going to be in New Jersey, Red Bank. We're going to be in Chicago, Dallas, OC, which is Orange County, New York, Miami, Denver, Seattle. We are traveling to the best gyms in the world because they want us to teach their trainers to level up. I apologize if I offended you today. We're so sensitive. It's a personality. I like to have fun with this because if I was trying to be serious, like some of these fuckers on YouTube that are going through, you really need to know this, I would literally lose my shit. My liver already takes a beating from trying to help you pass this because it's horse shit. I'm trying to put on my nice little ACE cap and help you get through this. I can't wait to see the comments because people are so gentle today. In the meantime, remember, big biceps are better than small ones, and keep showing.